Okay. Hello, family people. Once again, welcome to this project of mine. Thanking God, and I'm believing that you are well wherever you are. Know that you are blessed. And as the angel told Mary in Luke chapter 1, you are highly favored, and you will always taste of the goodness of the Lord. So, what is happening here today? The next phase. So, we decided to work on the gate. As you know, materials are expensive. Everything is going up. So I decided to look at the gate with my wife, and she picked this design. And I originally got a quote from one of these, companies here in Ghana. And to my shock horror, for the gate, the quote was almost 30,000 cities. And I looked at it and I said, this cannot be right. So I decided to, work on buying the materials needed for the gate ourselves, and then, getting a welder fabricator to work on it. And this gentleman, his name is Wanda. He's done some good work in the house, where we stay in North Kanishi. So I can trust him, his finishing, because I'm very particular about finishing. So his finishing was very good. So I decided to contact him, and he made a list of the materials that needed to be bought. So with my driver, they went into town, got the materials, and then they came in, and I decided to, get him to build the gate, on site. So everything came here. We have a truck, so I didn't pay for transportation. And so because of that, the costing went down. My driver was able to bargain with them for some of the materials and got a reduction in a few of them. So the gate is being constructed right now. Thank God. It is, I think they normally tell me that the gate is supposed to be 17 feet, but this one is 21. So it is bigger than the normal gate. And that's because, the entrance. To be honest with you, when I started this project, I knew pretty much nothing about building. So the first set of masons who acted like they knew the work clearly didn't. So this is some of the, you can say mistakes that they made. Because from that point of view, they should have known that maybe it was too big. I mean, it's okay. The gate is big enough, obviously it just means that you just spend a little bit more on buying the raw materials. So, when I want to really start changing the face of the place, the house. So I'm going to move these gates from here. I have another plot of land behind me. So I'm going to use these gates, these temporary gates at the plot of land that are fenced, just behind me. We had to buy more sand as well because the screeding on the flat roof had to be a bit, we had to slope it so that when there's rain, it doesn't sit on top of the building. I'm going to take you there to show you what has happened there in the course of the last week for you to see what's going on. Another thing, that my wife came in here and she decided that this, which would have been a door from, leading, from the bedroom to the balcony, she decided to close it because when she came in and she looked at the master bedroom, she realized that if there's going to be a TV, it will have to be, there will not be enough space for it. So she decided that, what, we don't need to have, a door here. We can go through this door, and then, just turn right and go to the balcony. She wasn't fast by it, so we decided to close it. So that's something that, has been done in the master bedroom. And if I take you to where the children's bedrooms are, we decided again to close one of the windows. And I'll be honest with you, the reason being mainly I got a quote for the windows. I had the first quote, which was, pretty much affordable. And then when they came back again, because of the cost of materials, it had literally doubled. It had doubled. And, looking at it, we can squeeze and pay for it. But my wife said, you know what? There's no need for, all these too many windows, so to speak, because these windows, one is big enough, to let in the air. And also with this side, because I don't know who is going to be on the other side of me, what they're going to build, so you will always be weary of you opening your windows and, if you're a child in here or you yourself, a bit of privacy. With this one behind me is, I have my, fence wall and, there's space here. So whoever's going to be on that side, it will not be too much, of issue with privacy. But with this side, I kind of like agreed with her. You will notice also that with this block work, you can see the thickness of the plastering. The thickness of the plastering. And again, it goes back to the original mason, who I just believe that it was God who drove him away from me, because, a lot of his work, was not straight. So what you see here is this, the new mason is doing a fantastic job. He's taken over and he's straightening out a lot of things. So this one is something that we have to do anyway, because we have some of the plumbing work behind the block work, so it has to be covered. So we're just, just doing a few block work here to cover up the place. Then obviously afterwards will be plastered, and then, ready for the company to come into their final measurements, I believe, and I hope, for the windows. You can see that the same thing has been done on the side. Once again, just to make sure that, we can get the cost of the windows down. And you will notice that also on this side, we have extended it because my wife wants a security door here. So you will see that the screeding has been done. If you stand on it, you can see that it's very sloping. So that, when the rainy season starts, I'm believing that I would have done the tiles by then, and the water will be channeled to the back with the proper plumbing work to get the water to the back. You can see the coping design. Because the coping wood was still on it, so they couldn't finish the plastering. So they're going to be dealing with the plastering, I believe, if not today, in the course of the week. And then you also notice that 3 coats, of block work has been done on top. This is to give it, a nice finishing when the coping is done at the top. So again, it's plastering work that's going to be taking place on there. So you'll see from this side as well. So they're going to plaster it, and then the coping work will be done on there. So I call this part, the prayer room. So it's coming up, it's looking good. I have to rent a scaffold for them to do the work on. You see that the area is looking good. It's looking like, it's developing. Sometimes you come here and you see people working. Other times you come, I guess, you know how things are in Ghana. You have to wait till you get your monies together, and then you come and move to the next stage. So the area is coming up very nicely. As I mentioned earlier on, the All African Games that's taking place is literally right in front of me. All this part that you're seeing is all part of the stadium, for the All African Games. There's a lot of advertisement going on right now. for the All African Games. It's right in front of me. Boteman, that's what it's called. Boteman, it's literally walking distance from my house to where the stadium is going to be. Now, I want to talk about a few things that, I think will be beneficial to you if you are, on a project, or you would, get to build, one of these days. It's what I would say are the mistakes that are made, okay, so that you don't repeat the same mistakes. I'm grateful that it's not that many. There are people who have some pretty horrible stories, but I'm glad, that I don't have that many. One of the first things that I want to talk about is these door frames. Okay, these door frames. I contacted a gentleman that I watched his YouTube videos. I love his house and the wooden designs, and I was so impressed with the doors. So I contacted him and I managed to get the number of the carpenter who did the work for him. He came up as decent, brought him to the site, and I told him to start working on the coat and everything for me. So I have a steel bender who doubles as I can't say my caretaker, because it's not like I pay him. He's just a lovely guy who lives in the area, so he looks after the place for me, and it's been very useful and very helpful. So if you need a steel bender, you let me know. You can trust him. He will look at your site for you. He will let you know exactly what's going on. He will let you know what's going down. And I should have listened to him, because he wasn't so keen on this gentleman when he came to the site. And so somewhere, maybe a year and a half ago, this guy, I paid him some money, and that was just for the door frames. And so when he brought the door frames to the site, my steel bender was not so happy. He called me and said, "Boss, this is not a good wood." And he said, even the way he's done it, I'm told that this is not how the door frames are, are normally done. It was just a straight, something that perhaps you and I can do. But those who are into carpentry said this is not how it's done. So that was, red flag number one. And then also, if you look at the wood, I'm hoping that you see, the holes, so you can clearly see that, these animals, whatever it is, I don't know if we're going to call it termites or whatever, that chew wood have already, and when I spoke to the carpenter, the one who I gave this assignment to, he told me that they treated the wood. Now, clearly, if you've treated the wood, it won't look like this. And I'm going to share with you exactly how much he charged me. Now, you have to understand, at this point, I didn't really know how much these door frames are supposed to cost. Okay, so he has taken, I think, 650 cedis for each door frame. So I must have paid him over 7,000 cedis. That's just for the door frame, which is a red flag, because it's ridiculous. Okay, so you're talking about two years ago, which, where door frames was costing like even the Amazonians and those other good wood, which I know now, were like 300, 400 cedis back then. So that was, one major mistake that I've made. So before you get into, the door frame, when you get to that stage, please talk to, people who have, walked this path already. And always, get 2 or 3 different views. And if you are going for the good wood, so, the Amazonians, and there's other ones which are considered very good on the market. Those are the ones that I would suggest that you go for. Watch some of these YouTube videos. So, there's some really good guys out there who are into building, and they let you know exactly, what's going on. Some of them have been to the market, and they've gotten the guys who sell the door frames to really give a breakdown, of good door frames to go for. So that's one major mistake, one major regret that I have. So make sure that you don't repeat that. Okay, make sure you don't repeat that. Door frames shouldn't cost that much. How can door frames cost the same as, the doors itself? So it's something that I have to rectify, and it's going to cost me a lot of money because, right now, the doors have been bought, some of it. Let me show you so far what has been purchased. Some of the doors have been bought. I'm going to take into the room. So some of the doors have been bought, okay, and it's all Mazonia wood, and I think we got them for $650 each. Things have increased, in the market. So these are all covered, Mazonia doors, okay. I have a video of when they first came in, and I'm going to perhaps upload that for you to have a look at. So they're very heavy. So again, you can see one window here has been closed. Okay, one window here has been closed as well. So they would have been okay. The carpenter that I've got now was going to treat it, but he said because of how heavy the Mazonia doors are, he was advising me that, it will cause a problem, in the not too distant future. It will damage it, the frame. So we have to, figure out a way to get Mazonia door frames, and that is a bit pricey, obviously now because of what's happening in the market. But I'm going to have to get it because I don't want to have any issues once the house is done. I've also started buying the POP cement because I'm told it doesn't go off, so at least for a year. I know it will be done soon, but I bought 40 bags so far. The POP man had given me an estimate of about 160 bags. I don't believe he's going to need that many because I'm not looking to do, these kind of like crazy POP designs that you see here in Ghana. Most of the, in the rooms, you'll notice that, and my plumber pointed it out to me, I bought the pre-mixed concrete. So you can see that it's pretty much, it's very smooth. So he was advising me just to get, the POP man to do, I think they call it skimming, and then do the corner molds. You can see that, it is pretty solid. So I'm not crazy about POP anyway myself. So it's not going to be any crazy designs. It's just going to be, something simple but decent and classy. So some of the POP stuff has been bought, the fiber, and obviously I think one of the things they need is a marine board. I guess that's where they do all the molding on. And also I've bought this paint. I've spoken about it a couple of times. Is to do with preventing damp water from rising from your foundations, from your fence walls. These days it's very important to get this because you don't want your walls to be peeling. It looks ugly and it's frustrating when you paint, and you know long term it will damage, it will make your walls weak. So when I first started this building, that's one thing that I have a friend in America who called me and told me to get this kind of material. So it's like tar, bitumen. Okay, so you can mix it with a little bit of water. I chose not to mix it with water. So, I wanted it to be thick. I wanted to secure the foundation. So I used it on the foundation of this building. And then I just recently bought 3 more because I've dug around the fence wall. I want to apply it to the fence wall as well. Now, interestingly, when I first bought this about 2 years ago, it was selling at 160, 170 cedis for the 17 kg. So when I went back there last week and I showed them the old receipt, they started laughing. And they were like, this thing has gone up. I said, I know. And so I got it for, I think it was like 600 cedis for one. There's a place around, here, not too far, who's selling it for 1,000 cedis. So be very careful. Okay, I would say the original company, is a Turkish product. And so if you go into town, you definitely get it cheaper than buying it from some of these, places that sells all these building materials. They probably get it from them, and then they price it ridiculously. So be very careful. Okay, be very careful. It's needed for your, foundation to make sure that you don't have that issue of water damp rising. Okay, they still have some cement left. I'm not expecting the cement to finish too quickly because most of the screeding has been done. So it's the replastering and a few touching up here and there. I will probably buy some cement, but I'm hoping that it will not be too many bags for what is left to do. So I'm told that the staircase is going to be plastered. All the side is going to be plastered so that it will all look very pristine and very clean. These metals, galvanized steel, is what I bought for the gate. And I'm going to talk about these, what do you call it? These things, these stones, okay? Supposed to be for stone cladding, but you can see as soon as I touch it, as soon as I, apply a bit of pressure, then they all start breaking. Again, this is something that I was watching a program on YouTube, and I'm told that watching the program, I was told because I want to do some stone cladding design on the house, and I'd inquired about it, a year and a half ago, because I like to do my research, and so I was interested in the design of it, and I want to make sure that right in front of the house, I'm going to take you there where the stone cladding design is going to be. So I'm looking at getting the stone. So you see this place has been roughly plastered. It's deliberate because of the stone cladding design. So I contacted this gentleman, somewhere in the Volta region, and I had watched a program where he's been interviewed about the stones that they produce on that side. And so I reached out to him, I spoke to him, and I gave him my plan. So he told me how many boxes I was going to need, and I actually picked it up myself, a Shaiman. And when I brought it to the site, I realized that this cannot be the same stones that I'm looking to, because these stones break very easily, and it doesn't look good. It's not cut well. So I spoke to him. I said, listen, you cannot tell me that these are quality, but sometimes when they've received the money already, then they try to be rude. So that is what he was acting rude, but I don't really want to deal with him yet. I just want to concentrate on this at the right time. I noticed that he's standing for politics. He's like an assemblyman kind of thing. So he's not running away anywhere. So I paid about 2,000 cedis for the initial 3 or 4 boxes that he brought. But when I realized that it was no good, I've just put that to bed. So that is not the right kind of stones that I need. I have a company called Slates Development. And I've already reached out to them, and they have sent me a quote. So they are the ones that I'm going to be working with from henceforth. And also, you will notice that before this was a round pillar. But if you look at it, you will notice that it was not straight from the bottom to the top. Again, the previous mason, who keeps calling me, by the way, because he doesn't have work now because of the way he came to behave here. He was very rude. So you will see that it's not straight. So I've been speaking to the mason and his team for a couple of weeks. And I said, listen, let's sort this thing out. So the plan now is to make it square. Okay, so the carpenters have, done the form with the wood to make sure that it goes up straight. So they've told me that they do it in stages. So when it's dry, they started last week. So I'm sure they're going to add more, concrete mixture to it. So that when it dries up here, then they will do the same thing. So the pillar, the woodwork will just move all the way to the top. All the way to the top. So that it's going to look, like a square rectangle, shape, which is even good for me because I plan to do the same design, the stone cladding design on there. Okay. So let me just take you back. I think the gate guy is taking a bit of a break. So there's going to be the small, this part is where you can open, go in and out, so that you don't always have to open the whole thing. You only open the whole gate, when the cars are coming in, and also maybe if you're bringing in something that's big. Okay. So that's the gate. It looks very solid. And I'm told when they went to buy the materials, The guys in the market was asking them, are they trying to, is it a gate for a mansion or something? Because they couldn't understand. I'm somebody that I like to have good things. It's not about the price. I don't believe that you can build a house and then in a few months or in a year or two, then the house starts giving you problems. I have friends and I have family who are enjoying that kind of situation. I don't want that for myself. I want to finish and then, have rest for at least 10, 15 years where I don't have to do anything to the house if I don't have to. So the best thing to do is to go for quality. Okay? To go for quality. This is something that was put on, these KKMA people. I've had to deal with them on several occasions because with further research, we found out that this place doesn't belong, this land, this parcel of, this stretch of land is not under their jurisdiction. So, they had been here a couple of times to worry, but I had to deal with them one time when I was here, give them a piece of my mind because they wanted to see your permit. I said, even if I have the permit, I won't show it to you because this place is not under you and you know it. Because I've been to their offices, I've dealt with their bosses themselves, and they told me that it's not under them, it's under Tema West. So the documentation is being processed by Tema West because they are the ones that, this parcel of land belongs to. So this is just to encourage you, okay? Don't give up. Mistakes, shouldn't cause you to, give up. I've learned my lessons and I'm passing it on to you. And one thing that I'll also say to you is that please don't, I'm the kind, because I grew up in the UK, I like to pay so that the work will be done. But I've noticed that in Ghana, what you have to do is sometimes, if anything, just give them just a little bit of the money. Let them finish the work, inspect it, make sure that it's to your liking, is the quality, is exactly what you ask them to do before you make a final payment. You know what I'm saying? Because some of them, as soon as you make payment, then you see their attitudes and their bad characters come out. That is what happened with my previous mason. I never argued with him about money. I'll just pay him. But then I realized that a lot of his work was shoddy. And I'm glad that God literally moved him away from here because it would have cost me a lot. So the land that is not straight, the land that is, the blockwork that's not straight, all of it was his handiwork. But these guys have come in, they've taken their time, and they've corrected all those mistakes. So it's to encourage you. I know things are tough. Listen, I can take 30, 40,000 CDs. I will go out, buy things, and you come back and you will not see any difference, on your project because things are so expensive now. You don't get much. But you know what? You can't wait. The longer you wait, you procrastinate, the more things go up. So make that bold step. Make that bold step. Make that bold step. With God, all things are possible. And if you believe in God, you know how God does things. Because God wants to boast about what He's doing in your life, God will make sure that in the times of difficulty, that's when He will call on you to make a move. God told Abraham, get out of your father's house. Get out from your family members. Get out from everything, everyone that you know, and go to a place that I'm going to show you. Abraham wasn't poor. Abraham was living a good life. You know what I'm saying? Abraham was living a good life. But God moved him from his place of comfort to a place where God wanted him to be. And if Abraham did not obey, you and I would not be talking about him today. So I'm encouraging you. Stay focused. If you're abroad, you can't come to Ghana often. I told you there's a Ghanaian community developing here now. Folk that will look out for you, will advise you on what to do. If you're here, you don't know nothing about building. Again, reach out. Some of us who've gone ahead, we can advise you. And if it's to borrow some things here and there, some of these rubber boards that are expensive, if it's to borrow it so that you can, bring down a bit of your cost, why not? Okay? God richly bless you. From Santo. The address is actually the Lord's Hill. May God fulfill you in this month. In Jesus' name, amen.